Hello, welcome to my mid-year book tag. This is my second time doing this. I did this last year, and since I had so much fun doing it last year, I thought why not do it again this year. I have accumulated 6 questions on my phone, and they are book related questions, and it's a good way to reflect and see how my year is going reading wise. Now for the first question is the biggest surprise. So a book that I didn't think I was going to like as much as I did. Like, I didn't have that high of expectations, and I actually have 2 books for this question. It is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune and Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. First, we'll talk about The House of the Cerulean Sea. I knew that this book was popular and I knew that people have raved about it, but I genuinely did not expect to love the characters so much. I didn't expect the found family in this book. I also did not know, and this is why I love going into books blindly, I didn't know that there was magical children, and it was such a lovely surprise to start the book, get thrown into the story, get wrapped up in the writing immediately like our MMC, and then get shown all of these lovely children that immediately steal your heart. Our MMC is a caseworker for magical children, and he ends up getting like this top secret like case where he gets to go to an island where there is an orphaned home. The home isn't orphaned, where there's an orphanage, and there is multiple children that live on this island that are all so unique in their own way. One of the kids there was a literal walking talking gnome, and she was obsessed with gardening and flowers and plants, and like, it makes sense because she's a gnome, and she literally pours her whole heart into this garden. It was a beautiful part of the story hearing about this garden that was so lush and alive because this gnome just puts so much care and love into the plants. And there's also a beautiful romance in this book, and I feel like every single character that is on this island I fell in love with. It gave me just such a warm feeling, and it was so easy to get through, and it was like a book that I did not want to put down. It was so good, and it made me laugh, and it like pulled on my heartstrings. It was just such a lovely book, and I would highly recommend for you to read this book. Then to Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. This was actually a 5-star read for me. I genuinely did not have high expectations. I ended up picking up the audiobook, and I fell in love with the story so much. The narrator has like a Scottish Irish accent that I ate up because I love that accent so much. For me, it's like so much fun to listen to. I could have easily listened to that narrator's voice for like another 8 hours because it was just so like satisfying to hear. So basically, it's a love story told in reverse, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more than a relationship that this FMC has with the MMC. So the beginning of the book, it starts with them breaking up, and you are following her in reverse on basically going past tense, which is such a unique concept. And the very end of the book is her falling in love with the MMC for the very first time, and it talks so much about all of the messy, confusing, hard feelings that you can have with everyone that you have in your life, whether it's your mom, your best friend, your boyfriend. It literally had my eyes brimming with tears, and it would also have me laugh. I literally felt like I was on the couch with wine in my hand. I don't drink wine, but I feel like wine is very essential for this scene. I felt like I was on the couch, wine in my hand. The FMC was across from me, and she was just telling me her entire life story. There's a lot of scenes where it's her talking to her best friend and telling her what happens, and you kind of just get thrown into the story where it feels like it's happening in present time. I just genuinely feel like I'm best friends with Hazel Hayes and the FMC. What's her name? I forget. We're best friends and I forgot her name. Oh, she doesn't have a name. She literally doesn't have a name the entire time. We don't know the main character's name, which was such a cool touch to it as well. I feel like it completely separated this book from the hundreds of other books that I've read. That's so cool how that writing works, where I literally feel like she's my best friend and know so much about her, but I literally don't even know her name. Now to the next question. It's a new release that I'm excited to read, and this one I'm literally very giddy to talk about it. I am so excited for this book because in the spell shop there is a main character in this book. His name is Kaz. He is a walking, talking spider plant. Yeah, he literally has so much emotions and is so smart and knows how to read, but he's a plant. He literally doesn't have eyes. And in the Enchanted Greenhouse, I think from the synopsis and from what I can remember, the Enchanted Greenhouse is talking about the beginning of Kaz's story. Kaz was created by a very smart sorcerer, and I believe the Greenhouse Enchantment, or a Greenhouse, why can I not remember this title? The Enchanted Greenhouse, I believe, is of the sorcerer who created Kaz. So when I tell you, I am so excited to have more of this universe because I fell in love with it so much. Like, you're gonna hear me talk about this book so much in the future, but just so much in this video because I fell in love with this book so much, and I am just so giddy and excited to have more of this universe. The experience that I have with the first book has been my favorite experience of any book that I've read this year. So the fact that I get another one, of course, the spell shop is gonna have a special place in my heart. I'm not like hoping I love it more, but I'm hoping that I love it just the same. This universe is like one I've never read about. There is magical creatures in this book. There's a lot of talk of magic and sorcerers, and the scenery from the first book, it's on an island, was just top tier spring summer vibes because of the ocean. There's these creatures in the spell shop that I would never have wrapped my mind around like on its own. There's these mer horses that are literally mermaid horses. So I'm so excited to learn about new magical like humans and creatures that are in this world. So that leads me to my newest favorite author, and that is Sarah Beth Durst. Sarah Beth Durst was just a beautiful reminder of why I love reading, why I love getting sucked into stories, why I pick up a book every single day. It's not necessarily to chase this feeling because that's unrealistic. Not every single book is gonna make me feel like this. But when I was just completely invested into the story and just like head over heels and like giddy, like I literally would read half of a page and then I would go to my boyfriend and like tell him about this world because I just wanted to share it with people. And just that like happy feeling is just it's what keeps me going. It sounds so dramatic, but reading makes me so happy. It genuinely feeds my soul. I wish that I could read this book again for the first time, and the fact that she has another book coming out just makes me so happy. This book was absolutely phenomenal. We are following Kaya, who is literally blue. She's like an avatar, but not an avatar. She's all blue and she has blue hair, and the story starts off with her and Kaz running away or trying to escape from this burning library, and they're trying to throw as many spell books as they can onto this boat and trying to flee the capital. And she ends up stumbling across this island, and that island ended up being her childhood home, and her parents ended up leaving that island and going to the capital, and so this is her first time coming back to her home in such a long time. As you can see from the cover, how the house is overgrown with trees, that's exactly how it is in the story. And there's literally cats with wings, and there's mer horses, and there's all of these beautiful people that she immediately feels like family with. It talks a lot about family and being okay with change, and it's a lot about personal growth and survival. It is such a beautiful story. This is my favorite book that I read in 2025 so far, so this is easily my newest favorite author. Now to a book that made me cry, which is A Man Called Ova by Frederick Backman. This is the only book this year that has actually made me shed a tear. Without a Love, my eyes were like brimming with tears, and there's also another book, but like I only count on me crying when like the tear actually falls off of my eyeballs, like falls and goes down my face. And it was 100% this one. And what's so funny is when I started reading this book, I had a really hard time like getting into the writing and getting into the story and like really caring about our main character. And when I started listening to it, all of that completely changed. I felt like it really helped create this character in my mind to where I can care and root for this character. And that's one thing that I love about audiobooks, and one cool thing that you can do if you have a hard time getting into a book, try the audiobook, because it immerses you so much more into the story if you're having a hard time doing it on your own. Our MMC Ova, I feel like that's how I can remember it being pronounced in the audiobook, because I was saying Ove, but then I also have heard Ove, but I'm pretty sure in the audiobook it was Ova. Our MMC Ova is the grumpiest man I have ever read about. He is very to himself. He is very by the book, strict, just very grouchy, and he ends up getting these new neighbors that move in right next to him. That's exactly what neighbors are. But these characters literally pry their way into his heart, and we end up learning more about him and why he is the way that he is, his background story, how he ended up building his house with his own hands, things like that. And at the very end of the story, I did cry, which actually earns like a whole star in my opinion. The writing has to be good enough, and the story ends up having to have me hooked enough for me to be able to cry. I don't cry very much with books. This is the book that made me cry, and I am not mad about it at all. Now to a book that I want to read by the end of the year. That is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And the reason that I haven't read it is because I am intimidated and a little bit more like scared with reading fantasy. This year was the first year that I have genuinely like put an effort into reading fantasy. I've heard that this is like Hunger Games, but with the stakes way higher. I hear amazing things about the MMC and FMC. Like, this book completely took over the book community. I've also have had this book downloaded and ready on my Kindle, and I always end up picking other books. I honestly feel bad because she doesn't deserve it. Watch by the end of the year, I'm like, this is my favorite book of 2025, and I would never have known if I didn't just give the book a shot. So this is a book that I really hope that I read by the end of the year. Now to the very last question. It's favorite book to movie adaptation, and that book is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I had such a lovely experience with this book. I was thinking about it at work, just wanting to go home and finish the story. I ended up watching The Perks of Being a Wallflower like the day that I finished reading this book, because I have been wanting to watch that movie for a really long time, but I wanted to read the book before. And so when I finally had read the book and I enjoyed the book so much, I was so excited to watch the movie. The book and the movie are absolutely lovely. I was not disappointed with either of them. I honestly can't really choose which one I like more, if I like the movie or the book, and I feel like that's like the best thing that can happen, is when you enjoy the movie just as much as the book. In this book, we are following Charlie. He is actually writing letters to a person that actually stays anonymous the entire time, and we are following him throughout his entire freshman year. All of the emotions that Charlie felt throughout the book, with the panic attacks, with the crying, with the complex relationships that he has with people, it made it to where I can like connect with the character that much more, relate to the character. It felt like he was like a real life person and not just like a fictional character. Like, in my mind, this is a real person. I also loved that we didn't know who he was writing to the entire time, so it kind of feels like he's writing to you. I had such a good time with reading the book and watching the movie, and that is by far my favorite book to movie adaptation this year. Well, I think this year, but this year so far. Those are all of the books that I'm going to be talking about in today's mid-year book tag video. I had such a lovely time just sitting here and chatting about books. Let me know down in the comments what book has made you cry, what's your favorite new author, what has been your favorite read. I would love to know. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.